Shalum, Shalom, and welcome to Seed to Harvest, a series of messages that are centered around life cycle. And I believe that when we begin to look at how the scriptures have presented to us a roadmap of things we should not take for granted, we will begin to recognize a strength that we have been neglecting to give attention to. And I started Seed to Harvest because there's a journey. I started with the first segment, talking about first meet, when man and woman create life. And though we don't know what's going on with that fertilized egg when the woman is impregnated or pregnant, there is activity, and I spoke of that. Now I want to talk about limited space. See, there's development going on in that limited space as the child develops inside the woman, the mother. And we have taken for granted the needs of the mother, the need from the eating habits, drinking habits, to just having sound mind. We might say upon announcement that we're happy, but then to neglect or take it for granted that the woman's body is beginning to change. And with that child in that limited space, development is going on. And I will present the correlation how, as development is going on, though we may not see it readily at first, it is going on. So development happens in limited space. Let me say this, O Yahusha. Let me present a few things to think about when it comes to limited space. For as end times ramp up, how we manage limited space as we begin to migrate from one place to another will be of the greatest importance. Seed to Harvest. Come with me to 1 Corinthians 13, chapter 8 through 13. 13, 8 through 13, 13. In 1 Corinthians, it reads, "Love never fails, and whether there be prophecies, there shall be inactive, or tongues, they shall cease, or knowledge, it shall be inactive." Now here's the key that I want to bring to light. For we know in part, we prophesy in part, but when that which is perfect has come, then that which is in part shall be inactive. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I thought as a child, I reasoned as a child. But when I became a man, I did away with childish matters. Notice how it's talking about a child, speaking as a child, thinking as a child, reasoning as a child. I submit to you, during that time of development, the child's brain and limbs and organs are forming in that limited space. Believe it or not, it is the beginnings of the child's ability to demonstrate life as what would be expected of a child. But then it goes on to talk about when I became a man. And he said, "For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but I shall know as I also have been known. And now belief, expectation, and love remain. These three, but the greatest of these is love." You might say, what does this have to do with anything? We ignore the development process of the child inside the mother's womb, developing. We ignore that that child is developing in spite of the limited space. And sometimes it can be two in there. But this is part of the development. Now you might say, what does this have to do with anything? End times will come. And if we neglect the needs of the mother, it can affect the child that she is carrying or the children that she is carrying in that limited space. So let us not neglect what is going on during the pregnancy of a woman. Let us not neglect the needs of the mother. And as fathers, let us pray with the expectancy that there are things and responsibilities we must take on, even before the child is born. Let me take you to Matthew 10, 26 to 28. It says, therefore, do not fear them, for whatever is covered shall be revealed, whatever is hidden shall be made known. What I say to you in the dark, speak in the light. What you hear in the ear, proclaim in the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body, but are able to kill the being. But rather fear him who is able to destroy both being and body in Gehenna, or hell. My brothers and sisters, here we see that the Mashiach is telling us, don't fear what man can do. He also said the things that are hidden will be revealed. I submit to you, this can even go deeper. If you look to discern beyond the literal, you'll see it can also apply to the development of the child. You see, if a mother is drinking a lot of alcohol or smoking or doing drugs and thinks she's getting by with that baby that's being developed, what's hidden will be revealed, because the child could be born with a nicotine habit or a birth defect, or it could lead to the body being destroyed of that child. Limited space. Development is going on, my brothers and sisters. Even though we may not pay attention, and we have taken it for granted, let us now begin to pay attention. For even in these final days, when we begin to move and gather and squeeze into cars or trains or planes or squeeze on a boat, limited space can result in things that are beneficial, my brothers and sisters. Take a moment and see the connection before you dismiss the words. My brothers and sisters, there's a stage of life where though there is limited space, life continues to develop. It continues to develop. So as is so with a baby developing in a mother's womb, so will we find ourselves in limited space. Instead of complaining, that space may be for a moment. Development can continue. So let us remember, we have survived limited space prior to birth, and we will survive limited space in the coming days. Matthew 10, 26 to 28 reads this. Come with me there. Matthew 10, 26 to 28. It says, therefore do not fear them, for whatever is covered shall be revealed, whatever is hidden shall be made known. What I say to you in the dark, speak in the light, and what you hear in the ear, proclaim on the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body, but are unable to kill the being, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both being and body in Gehenna, or hell. Do not underestimate the power of development, my brothers and sisters. It can occur from the smallest of space to the greater destination, from before physical birth to physical death. Development occurs, O Yahusha. Pray and seek to discern and understand how this will be relevant as end times ramp up, as we find ourselves visiting limited space. Yahusha, thank you for listening to this quick message. Pray and see if it has some contribution to our mindset, our position, as conditions change in the days ahead. Thank you for listening. I pray that you got something out of this, something that maybe you may park the thought for the moment. But when you find yourself in that limited space, know that development can continue. On that note, my brother, my sister, my family, stay tuned. There's more to come. Seed to harvest. Shalum. Shalom, my brother, my sister, my family. And thank you.